Okay, so obviously the UK is in a bit of turmoil. We've lost a deputy prime minister. Angela Rayner has, I would say, forcibly resigned. It was kind of something that she needed to do anyway to save what little credibility she has left. But she has done the right thing, and in the wake of her stamp duty error, shall we say, we're going to call it an error, a faux pas, not intentional, of course. She has resigned and David Lammy has taken over. So what does this mean? I mean, who is this David Lammy character, and what does this mean for the Labour Party and the UK in general? Well, David Lammy was a former MP for Tottenham, trained at SOAS and also Harvard. He has got fairly extensive ministerial experience. I guess the title of Deputy PM is kind of honorific, but when it's paired with Justice Secretary roles, that means he does gain influence over law, over courts, and to an extent over public confidence. So I guess the expectation is that he's going to be the guy to restore, perhaps and even stabilise the Labour Party after Rayner's scandal and subsequent departure. I think that Labour are probably hoping that he's going to be the one to empathise and also collect working class votes, and that people will kind of sync with that. Now, whether that happens or not, whether the damage has been done and the bell has been rung and all the rest of it, I guess we'll have to wait and find out. Let's face it, I mean, he can't do a worse job than Angela Rayner. I'm sure he's not going to be the aggressive, shouty MP that Angela Rayner absolutely was for like a large number of her. I'm sure he's not going to be the shouty MP type as Rayner was through much of her career, pointing the finger and wagging for resignations and all the rest of it. So, what does it mean for the Labour Party in itself? Well, obviously, Keir Starmer is in the shit really at the moment. You know, he's got a party that's falling down around his ears. He's got embarrassment. He's got scandal, and that's just from one MP. I mean, yeah, you've had other MPs within the party that have all had their own scandals, and even Starmer himself had one within a week or two of taking power. So the party has kind of been hit with a multitude of problems. Now, this sort of opens up the floodgates for other parties. You've obviously got Advance UK, you've got the Tories as well, and you've got the Reform Party. So the big question here is who has the best chance at the next election? Myself, and for my own money, I think that Labour has cooked its goose. I think there's far too much that's gone far too wrong, far too quickly for them to have probably ever a sniff of getting voted back in this time or any time. I don't think the errors and the issues and the lack of confidence that the public have in Keir Starmer and the other MPs, the Chancellor, for example, I don't think that's going to be forgotten anytime soon. And I think that's going to damage Labour for years and years to come. I don't think the Tories have got much of a sniff of getting back in. And many of them are obviously jumping ship and joining Reform or joining Advance UK. And I think we are at a pivotal moment in UK politics. And I'm not a massive fan of politics. I've always said, I reckon whatever bunch of clowns you vote in, they're all going to put their snouts in the trough, look after their own. They'll spend the first year or 2 years blaming the previous government for the mess. That exonerates them from needing to do anything. And then they spend the next 2 years creating a mess and just spunking public funds, sorting themselves out under the threat of not being in power for the next term. They just take in what they can while they can. And that cycle just continues. Doesn't matter who you vote in. And it happens, it's a global thing. It's not just the UK. Any political system pretty much in the world goes through the same cycles. So the question is, can the Reform Party really save us? Is it just going to be another case of another bunch of mouth breathers spending public funds? I mean, Farage's Reform UK is surging. Let's not forget that. I mean, part of this, and I think a lot of it, is not fueled by him being an enigmatic leader. I think it's more than anything fueled by public anger over immigration, over cost of living. And a lot of what he says, a lot of what he promises, and let's not forget this is how they get into power in the first place. A lot of what he promises is playing on that, and it obviously is resonating with people globally, but especially in the UK. So, what does reform have to make it? Do they have what it takes to govern, or is it just an electoral foil that they're using? So, the popularity for reform, most of it is surrounding anti immigration. That's been their biggest thing. And that message is resonating massively amid Labour's absolutely shambling support for the UK public and the country and its borders as a whole. So, post the Rayner reshuffle, I think reforms policies are probably fairly sound. I mean, they're the most sound out of all of the parties out there, and Farage has captured a massive swath of public confidence. They use broad slogans. I mean, they do lack information on details about how spending is going to take place, what things are going to be sort of, what funds are going to be proportioned to where, and how it's going to be implemented. But I think the anti-immigration sentiment out there at the moment is probably going to be enough to tip those scales. So some challenges that they face are going to be basically gaining economic credibility, gaining international standing, and also they need institutional readiness. They need to be ready to put things into action the second they come to power. Because if they dilly-dally, if they fanny about like most governments do and take months or even years to do things, people will lose confidence so fast. There are systemic barriers in place. There's an FPTP system, there's internal party structures, there's media scrutiny as well as public scrutiny. There are funding constraints that make governing tough for new and also for insurgent parties. So the public appetite for this is massive. If you look through any videos on YouTube, on TikTok, pretty much any social media platform, look at any videos where the Labour Party are giving speeches or they're trying to, create promises that they may or may not deliver on. Just read the comments. The comments give you a massive snapshot of public opinion. And what you'll read is, get Keir out. We need a re-election. We need a dissolving of Parliament. The King needs to step in. It's what you'll read. And it's not just one or two people. It's masses and masses of comments on each video. So the public appetite for this is massive. The public appetite for reform, just as a thing, is massive. But the deliverability is what's important. So while voters like their tough talk, they love it. It's what gets them to vote. They love it when people talk tough and they're going to take a hard stance on something. But actual policy making demands substance. So let's hope that if reform have a sniff at getting in, that they've got the substance, they've got the economic management, they've got local governance, and they've got the diplomacy to be able to sort it. So in contrast, many people, even myself as someone that's not a voter, I really hate politics in itself, but you can see a massive contrast with reform's rise and Labour's dissension into chaos. And it is night and day. And I think reform's strengths basically lie in messaging. They've got a huge number of MPs that have jumped ship from the Tory party and have basically joined Farage. I think there are policy gaps, and I think they're going to be able to play on institutional weakness within the Labour Party. I think that's massively going to help them get to the helm, probably in 2 years, if not sooner, hopefully. I think the current government has definitely had its day, and I think the writing's on the wall. It would be a shame if Labour Party do stay in power for another two and a bit years. I think the amount of damage that's been done to the country, to businesses, just to individuals as well, and the wealth and the happiness and the optimism and the outlook that the UK once had, it's literally all gone to shit in 18 months. And I know that the Tories ruined a lot of things beforehand, and then Labour before that, and then the Tories before that. It is a never-ending cycle of shit. It's a complete spin cycle. But I don't think in my lifetime I've ever encountered a political party or a political powerhouse that's taken such an absolute kicking publicly as Labour has in the last 16 to 18 months. I've never encountered in my lifetime such public furore against a political party as I've seen in the last 16 to 18 months. I don't see it dissipating. I see it only getting worse. So what are your thoughts on this? Are you a staunch left, a staunch right? Are you red? Are you blue? Are you yellow? Are you like me and you just don't care? Where do you see the Labour Party going now that they've got a new deputy prime minister and also a reshuffle? And let's not forget they've got Shabina Mahmood as well, which is a massively controversial choice. That's probably another video in itself. I don't want to get into that now. But that's a massively controversial choice as well. So where do you stand on that, the whole Labour Party debacle, and where do you stand on reform? Do you think reform is a good thing? Is it just smoke and mirrors? Are they just trying to throw promises out there that play on the under-deliverings of a failing Labour Party in order to get themselves to power? Drop it below, let me know. Really interested to find out opinion on this one. Let's hear it from all sides. YouTube is going to pop another video up there. Like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, all that jazz. Another one tomorrow. Goldman, peace out.